Hi, it's Matt. Today we're going to look at this World War II German Jagdpanther, which was a tank destroyer used near the end of the war.
Jagdpanther means hunting panther, and it combined the might of the 88mm gun, similar to that on a Tiger II, with the chassis of a Panther tank.
They were a very good tank destroyer, used both in the Eastern Front and in Normandy, for example. However, probably not enough of them were made to make a difference in the scheme of things. They did have a crew of 5. I want to thank everybody for their patience. There's been a lot going on in my home life, including I injured my finger. I'm happy to say that it's all healed, and thank goodness I didn't need any stitches and there was no damage. So I'm back to building Lego again. The idea to make this model came about when I realized that in this generous donation from my subscriber Max, there was a Mega Bloks Halo Pelican gunship in there.
Yep. These are all off of that Halo ship. It's cool. It's kind of like its own sort of camo pattern. There's like swirls in it. That's great. Okay, here's part of the wing off of that Halo craft. And this is a great color to make tanks from. So I'm already thinking I'm probably going to make a tank in that color.
So here we're going to do something different. And I'm actually going to show how the parts go onto it instead of my normal way of starting with a built model and taking it apart. Here's the chassis. You may notice I didn't actually have enough parts to go on the right side of it, but I didn't want that to hold up this video. Let's take a look at the underneath side. These are the part types and the concept I used when putting together the road wheels for the Jagdpanther. In World War II, the Germans were known for interleaving their road wheels, which means they were staggered and they overlapped, which became a maintenance hassle in the field, because if the inner wheels were damaged, when you threw a track or something like that, you'd have to take the outer wheels off first to get to the inner wheels and then put them back on. Didn't turn out to be such a great idea, but they sure look cool. So that's how those stagger. You'll note with this model the tracks are static, so these don't turn. Just keep that in mind. Something else I want to point out is that I didn't use the Mega Bloks Technic style parts because if you notice the holes that go through are closer to the top of the brick than they are on the Lego. I mean, it's fine if you use them, but you will need to make an adjustment for that. Now we're going to look at the back deck portion of the model. What we're looking at here are the exhaust pipes and a rear hatch and some engine vents. If you recall from that unboxing video, there was a foreshadowing of this.
This is part of it too. And I see these turbine things. Those are sweet. Put those on choppers or planes or tanks.
I'd like to say something else about some of the parts you might have spotted in that last shot. These are some key Mega Bloks constructs pieces that I used to put this model together. These in particular are exclusive to Mega Bloks, these angled pieces. If you're using Lego, you're going to need to adapt. Speaking of hinges, that's how I could slope the armor, was by using hinges. These are Mega Bloks type. I also used Lego hinges like these. These were used when putting on the side skirts. And super important are these, they're called jumpers. They allow you to offset or center certain pieces over the top of other ones. Now let's take a look at the underneath side of this back deck assembly. If you look closely, you can see there are a couple of hinge pieces underneath there that allow the back face of the deck to angle out. When it comes to the tracks, I used my old trick of using brick tape, and then I just removed the adhesive tape off the backing. So now we'll attach that deck assembly to the back. And the back corners need to be put on next. And those are using some angled pieces. Here we have the top of the tank. For that tube-shaped thing on the left side, I didn't have enough of the right color, so I just improvised and used what I had. Here's underneath that top superstructure. It's not really a turret because it was fixed. The formidable 88mm gun inside this tank destroyer did have some movement, but for the most part you had to maneuver the vehicle around to get your aim. Next we move on to the glasses, or glacis. Basically it means this front sloping armor. Anyhow, that's your word for the day. And here's a look at underneath. This version uses the armor plate for a machine gun off of one of the Warthogs. No, not that kind of Warthog, or that one. This kind. To handle the area where the gun attaches to the hull, I took a page from my T90 design, and I'm using tape and paper. I experimented with a variety of shapes, and I eventually came up with this shape to wrap around the barrel. After I cut it out, I used a marker to color it. And from my stash, I'll be darned, but I found a perfect matching shade. This is an old design marker, but you'll need to come up with some kind of marker or even acrylic paint that works for you. So what I did is I wrapped it around the base of the barrel. I actually had to do a couple more cuts, and then I taped it. This could be finessed better, I'm sure. Here's an alternate design that uses the nose cone off of a third-party kit, but you can use a similar conical piece from LEGO or other source. Here's what it looks like with that colored paper wrapped around the cone shown in the previous scene. The machine gun is a little bit too big for scale, and it is a Kobe unit. Lastly, we'll plug in this glacis cannon assembly onto the front and drop in a 1x6 tile to cover the seam. The front lower hole is on a hinge, and we'll just push it up into place. I actually had ordered some 4x wide tape, and I was going to cut it down to 2.5 to 2.5 studs to be more to scale, but when it got down to it, it really wasn't quite worth the trouble. So I just used standard 2x, and I think it works out okay. But what do you think? I'd love to see your comments in the comment section. I also appreciate a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe so I can keep bringing this original design LEGO content to you. If you're into German armor, please check out these videos. I have everything from tigers to Stug 3s to an elephant to even modern armor such as a Gepard and a Leopard 2A6. Thanks a lot, y'all. Bye.